No idea what's going on, Thomas.
Well, I didn't know what was going on in these races today.
I have no idea what happened there. Oh, great. Now I'm echoing to myself. Isn't that wonderful?
I don't get an echo.
I think I'm going to jump out and jump back in.
Bye-bye. Hi. Welcome. It's time for some more bad picks because, boy, today we sucked. Oh, Valiant. First race, $240 winner. Unbelievable. And go check that exact out if you didn't see it. Oh, my crazy prices. The smallest trifecta, $920 today. Unbelievable.
That was the weirdest thing. I could hear myself like speaking. Boom, boom, boom. It was the oddest thing. Like I would talk, and then 5 seconds later, I would hear myself.
Are you sure you're talking?
Yes, indeed, right? Lead continues to pay large amounts at Ascot. Good, Charles. Glad to hear that. Anything that you like tomorrow that's going to be up on the lead?
Please help.
Oh, yes. Some help would be useful.
We needed it today.
Well, the thing, you can't be hot every day, Thomas.
No, of course. But it was crazy day.
Well, you knew that in the opening race, right?
Oh my God, the opening race. I couldn't, and that horse went right to the lead too. And didn't look back.
One thing I did notice today, though, is that it seemed like horses that had some experience on the Ascot course already, they fared well today. They may not have won, but they were definitely flirting around the money. And let's see if indeed that can be the case again tomorrow, right? Just look in comments for lead and headed. Yeah, that's I got a lot of horses today that I'm going to be looking at too that look like they'll be close to the front as well. All right, Thomas, we've licked our wounds enough. Now it's time for us
to beat ourselves up. Let's move on. There's
time to pick ourselves up and
another day of racing.
Yeah, see, tomorrow's another day, right? It's like we're like closers in baseball. Okay, so you got to hit off me today. Tomorrow I'll come back and I'll throw 3 heaters right by you. And if you get contact, the 4th heater will come at the head. And then we'll just make sure we throw an outside slider after that and watch you bail out and strike out. So today we're going to throw some high heaters. We're going to come in and look for some killers today at Ascot, or at least tomorrow, Friday. The first one we're going to try is the Albany Stakes, 6 furlongs. It is a Group 3 fillies, 2-year-olds. A lot of fun stuff with that one. 6 furlongs, they'll run down that straightaway again, Thomas. Absolutely. It sure looked to me still today like the horses that were on the far side, if they had speed, they did better than the horses on the closer side that looked like they were trying to close. Did you notice the same thing yet again?
That was what I keyed on, and some of the picks that I had, I'm going, they don't have a chance.
All right, well, let's take a look at the first race there, Tom, and let's take a look at let's share your thoughts with the world.
All righty, we're going to take number 6, Jabara, as my top choice. Let's draw 6-18. And won her only start at Newmarket and did a lot of work to get that win. She appears to be a closer, but not 100%. There was a strong pace in that race, so I think that helped her a lot. And this race has got a strong pace. There's no question. The dam side, 8 foals, 5 of them are winners, but only one won at 6 furlongs. Everybody else is a mile plus. On the sire side, well, he's produced way too many top class horses. And
can that actually happen, that you produce way too many top class horses? I'm sure for the breeder that's not true.
Very happy.
Yeah.
And they get the stud fees to reflect that. I mean, but that's it. That's not a bad thing. But to me, it's like, wow, there's another one. Oh, there's another one type of thing. All right, number 10, Navas Island is my next choice. Draw 3. And second in a Group 3 at Navs. And that's her only start. She didn't really have clear running in this, but she made up a lot of ground still and only lost by a neck. There's a lot of buzz about this horse. That may be a very special type horse. Well, that would reflect on the dam, because the dam has 6 foals. She has 4 winners. And one of them is going to be running later in these today and these races, and that's Lazoo. And basically, it's sprinters, and they've not gone past 7 furlongs. The sire side is a winner in France, and he's produced horses up to a mile, but beyond that, no. So that fits this race nicely. Finally, I'm going to take number 18, Soprano. Has draw 16. The first out winner at Newmarket. It was a favorite. And I have to say, watching the race, William Buick did a really good job of keeping that horse to task. And frankly, 6 furlongs should suit this one very nicely. The dam side, this is her first foal, and she was unraced. But the family, looking at the family side, basically middle distance type horses. On the sire side, this was a top-class sprinter, both in Australia and England. So mix that up, and maybe you got a really good sprinter.
Maybe. I'm echoing again. Isn't that weird? So I'm going to go with number 10, like you. Is my top pick. Navassa Island. They must think, and you had mentioned there's a lot of buzz about this horse. They must think something of it because they debuted it in a Group 3. Just missed by a neck. So I'd expect that you'll probably see some more stamina today. Number 9, I think the one horse that we don't agree on in here is the 9, Matrika. I think at this point, you have to be absolutely nuts not to have Ryan Moore on your tickets. Number 18, which I probably fit over that most of the time, the absolutely nuts category. Soprano, that's another one that we agree on in here, Thomas. Won the debut with ease, and that was a pretty highly rated race. And then finally, my final choice in here, number 2, Dawn Charger. Got to have that long shot in there. Seemed like the horses with Ascot experience, like I mentioned, did okay on Thursday. Let's see if that carries over to tomorrow, because this horse did have a pretty good run over the Ascot course. So for me, 10, 9, 18, and 2.
Well, and 2's got some attractive odds. So let's see if that one can hit the board.
Well, the 2s are running wild. The 2 horses 22-1, and he's running from the coveted 7 post. So all luck aboard that one. The predictor will tell us who it thinks is going to take home the top prize in the opener tomorrow. You know, I think the first race each day, right? A bomb hit the first race. So we should have probably just taken all long shots and not even worried about anybody else.
Yeah, 50-1 or bigger, right?
Porta Fortuna. That one is the favorite to win according to the predictor. I almost forgot the name there. Navassa Island right there too, Thomas. Look at that. Carla's Way, Dawn Charger, Persian Dreamer, and Comat. Comat 50-1. Maybe that's the one that'll get the job done because like you mentioned, Tom, only bombs have won in the first race. So bombs away to start again tomorrow, or you think after today they'll rebound back to like a little chalky?
Yeah, today was the big bomb. $240 for the whirlpool. That's a few bucks.
Yeah, that's a good one. $10 to win on that one. You had a fantastic day, no matter what happened the rest of the day. Race number 2, the Commonwealth Cup. It's going to be 6 furlongs. Again, they're going to run down that track, and they'll start here, and they'll make their way up the hill, then down the hill. They'll break up into branches on the right, where the speed horses probably will go on the left, so closer to you on the screen when you're watching. It's where it seems like the closers want to be, Thomas. Who do you think will get the W here? Is that heavy favorite, Little Big Bear?
Yeah, I couldn't get past Little Big Bear, number 2 with draw 2. He won last time out like a champ at Haydock. Huge favorite. The Guineas was just too far for him. There's no question that he's a sprinter. And he's proved that as a 2-year-old, and he came out at Haydock and proved that he okay. I mean, he's champion 2-year-old last year. So, I mean, to me, he's the one to beat. I'm going to take number 4, Mischief Magic is my next choice. Withdraw 1. The last race was awful. It lost by 16 lengths, and I think it's too awful to believe because this is the Breeders' Cup winner. And
maybe he just came back in different form this year, like we talked about yesterday.
That's my concern. That transition from 2 to 3. You know, but I still think it's a better horse. I think really the ground is the key here. I think it wants a firm ground, as it did at Keeneland. and we're going to definitely get a firm ground.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, there's no excuses today if that horse does nothing. And finally, I'm going to take the one I talked about in the first race, number 11, Lazoo, with draw 14. Not much in her last race, but that was in the Guineas. It was a mile, and I think she's a sprinter, not a distance horse or middle distance. 6 furlongs against the males will be interesting. I mean, she beat Mediate in her last race of the season at Newmarket by 3/4 of a length. And if you toss that last race, she's won 4 6 furlong races. She's placed also. And, she's good. And I think, it gets a little weight allowance, which always helps.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to get some okay odds. I mean, 8-1. Yeah, I'd go with 8-1.
I am going to start off in this race. I'm going to try to beat the Little Big Bear with the 5 horse in here. Sir Thomas, Noble Style, Charles Appleby, James Doyle. I didn't want to press on that. Forgive me for that. This one improved in its last race, and it was well bet in that effort. I think it's going to find its form in the third start after a layoff. And if not, Little Big Bear, the favorite there. Ryan Moore again. But I figured after what we've seen the first 3 days, why put the favorite on top? Number 12, Ocean Quest, does get the third spot for me. 20-1 shot in here for Colin Keane and Mrs. John Harrington. Hasn't done anything wrong in any of its 5 races. I feel like those odds are a little bit too high for that one. And then finally, number 8, Shaquille, a big horse, of course, wearing purple. Won 5 of 6 overall races, and then it's put 3 in at today's distance and won all of them. So I can't understand why the horse is all the way down here in my picks and why the horse is 9-1. Maybe because the favorite in there, Little Big Bear, is going to gobble up all the money.
It's going to take
3 at the distance.
It's going to take a ton of money.
For sure. 5 of 7 winners today had that comment in PPs. It's been the way all week. So he's talking about in the comments, look for lead and then headed. So use Control F on your sheets, look for lead and headed, and then you'll find yourself some winners. It's been working for Charles all week. Hey, we appreciate you sharing that with us. Matter of fact, Charles, maybe if I can remember, because sometimes the old man in me forgets, but I'll maybe put out a tweet a little bit, and I'll give you credit for it that you pointed that out. And then hopefully people can use that to their benefit. The predictor, see if the predictor read the lead and headed comments, Charles. Pow. Little Big Bear, but Noble Style going to be right there behind it. Maybe that's the one that'll upset it. Shakir Lizo, the one that you mentioned, also mentioned in there, should have been airing. Yeah, should have been airing. My bad. That rounds it out. It looks like the longest shot on there is should have been airing. Should have been airing. I don't know. Should have been a ring. I get it. All right. Should have been a ring. That's the one you might want to throw in there at the back end of your exactas or trifectas, according to the predictor. Maybe that one can come through with a nice price.
I never know.
You never can
tell.
Lately,
it's yesterday. I mean, today and yesterday too. I mean, there was one short priced horse. The rest of them paid something.
Yeah, well, let's see if we can continue. I hope that trend continues. Again, my goal on these 30 horse race cards is to find one race that pays for the whole day. And according, Charles looks like he's found the key to unlock the entire day with the lead and headed part. I'm going to make a note to tweet that out and give Charles B that credit. I'll see if I can screenshot it and put it out there as an image. Race number 3 is 1 mile and 4 furlongs. So they call that 1.5 miles over here. 1 mile and 4 furlongs is almost one full turn around the track here, just a little bit short of that. They're going to start at one end of the triangle and finish almost at the other end of the triangle. Thomas, when they're done with their geometry class, who's going to grade out as the horse that is the given?
Well, I think it will be a closer, and we watched that again today.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I'm going to take number 5, Living Your Dream, with draw 18. It's been off a long, long time. I mean, 2021 was its last race. Then it ran 12 furlong race at Haydock in a Class 2 handicap. And it ran second at 9-2, which I really find curious. He closed well in the winter. He just, maybe a little short on conditioning.
Rusty.
Yeah. Well, and that was actually a comment that was in there. He's run 11 races. He's won 4 of them, and he's placed another 4 races. Distance is a little bit of a question for me, but if he's back to his old form, I think that's one who could be very dangerous.
Mm.
My next choice is going to be number 6, Otaka Sushi. Has drawn 9. Ran a 5th in a Group 3 at Leopardstown at 14 furlongs, lost by 3 lengths. Has 2 wins at Dundalk, which is the all-weather, and one of them is at 16 furlongs. The other one was 10.5 furlongs. And both times this horse went off as the favorite. He appears to have done his best running, or good running, on the Good to Firm. He has a win with 3 tries and a place in another one. I think the distance isn't an issue, and he gets Ryan Moore. That's nothing to sneeze at. And finally, I'm going to take number 16, HMS President is my final choice. Has draw 11. Last start was at Newmarket at 14. It was on the soft going, and he did really well, and just by a neck. He's had good efforts in his first start, too, on the all-weather in Kempton. He ran second there at 11 furlongs. The final race last year, well, it was awful, to be really nice about it. But here's the thing that this horse makes me intrigued and why I think it'll place, is because has 33 runs in his career, has 4 wins and 13 placings. Well, you got to think about one of those type of horses, because you want to back up your trifecta or your exacta. That's the kind of horse that may hit the board and may get a few bucks.
Those fat odds are always make for a nice exacta and trifecta. I like that as well. I'm going to like the 6 horse as my top pick in here. That one is Okita Sushi, as you mentioned. It's a Ryan Moore horse. And did I mention earlier that Ryan Moore is just about every time I looked up Ryan Moore. Anyway, this one, aside from Ryan Moore, has good breeding. And the one time it ran on Ascot was a pretty good run. Number 11 is my next choice, Al Nafir, William Buick, Charles Appleby. That's a pretty good combination of here. If you look at his...
Not at Ascot this year.
Not at Ascot. Well, they're due. Gambler's fallacy, right?
Well, maybe they'll pick it up in the last 2 days.
Yeah, the opposite of us. They're going to be cold in the beginning and hot in the end, but hopefully we catch up with them. But if you look at this horse's races, 4 out of the 6 races I think would actually win this one. The other 2, not so much. First time gelded, so maybe that'll tilt the scales towards the 4 good ones. Number 15, Haunted Dream, 20-1 shot. Looks like odds went up. Bettor's thinking better of it. Some money coming back in on Haunted Dream. If you look at the horse's past performances, most of his very good ones come first time after a layoff. That's what we're going to get today. And then finally, the 9 horse. This one is Nagano. I think this one is a completely wild card horse because it's been off for a while. So keep an eye on the odds board. The back class is certainly there, and there's no question about it. If you see that the bettors are back in this one, it's probably live. And I think the back class suggests if it's live, it could be the best horse in the race. What were your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I was a little concerned with that one. But again, the time off and to throw in against this bunch, I thought maybe asking a little too much.
Yeah, well, that's why I have to keep an eye on the odds board. If you see money coming in on it, the word on the ground is it's live.
If you see money, you better seriously think about putting a few things on it, or at least throw it in your exacta.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what the predictor thinks. Staywell, 40-1. Not a name either one of us mentioned in there, Tom. I don't remember. Live Your Dream. That one's in there. HMS President. Akita Sushi. So Thomas, and definitely investigating the predictor before coming on the show today.
I took my crystal ball and the predictor and went poof.
Well, you are indeed the programmer for the predictor. We know that. You've been incognito about it. Now the secret is out of the bag. The next race, where we'll try to tell our little secret of who's going to win. This is the Coronation Stakes. It's 1 mile. This one is the round one. There we go. I finally, as I mentioned, figure that one out this year after 3 years of doing this. So they're going to start up here on the round one.
Right. Yes. It's down the straight, up and down a little bit, and then they'll.
I wouldn't really call it round.
A nice little turn. There'll be about at the top of it, they're about 3 furlongs out, and then you get to see the cavalry charge.
I don't think I would call it round. I would think I'd call it a dyslexic L. Anyway, that's how they're going to run right here in the Coronation Stakes, Thomas. When they're done running the dyslexic L, one of them won't get an L. They'll get a W. And who will that be in your estimation?
I'm going to go back with number 3, Mediate. The withdrawal 4 is my top choice. I like the effort at the Cura going a mile. Lost was going to end up my third choice, and I think will be the favorite, which is Tara. This horse, Newmarket, was never in the race in the Guineas. Won the Breeders' Cup at a mile on the firm going. I'm not 100% convinced she's a miler, but you never know. And the thing that I really stat that jumped out at me is she is 2 for 2 on the firm going. Well, she's got a little bit of she's got a run down and then a turn, and maybe that's just what she needs. So I'm going to take her on top. I'm going to take number 4, Queen for You. Withdrawal 1 is my next choice. Won a novice at Ascot in May. It was a mile race, and it was won it by 2 furlongs. 2 lengths. Last race before.
That would be a hell of a win, 2 furlongs.
Yeah, well,
all the others stumbled out of the gate or something.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be a quarter horse race, that's for sure. Last race was at York, ran second, lost by a head, and it had some problems. It didn't get out of the gate very cleanly. It's going to drop in distance. It's going to take that little bend, and I think it's going to. With that draw 1, they got to get good position. This is a Gosden horse. And he obviously sees something in the morning that suggests this horse has got a nice chance. And so, again, look at the odds. And I think this could be an interesting play. And finally, I'm going to take that number 7, Tara, draw 3. At the Cura, she beat Mediate. She looked good. She was a huge favorite. She's won at 7 furlongs. She's beat Mediate before. She ran second as the favorite in the Guineas. Her last 3 races have been Group 1s. It's not like she's shirking any company. And the only question I really have with her is the firm going, because she's never truly run on a firm track. And that's why I took Mediate as my top choice because of that. And we'll see what happens.
Well, I think what's going to happen is Taira will make it 5 races, 4 wins, and only 3/4 of a length away from being undefeated in those. So the next question is, who do you pick second, or who has a chance to upset it? And Mediate is the logical choice, but it's already lost to the horse a couple times, so I don't know that it'll do it. So I think you got to go somewhere else. And I'm going to go with Sound to Heaven to do that one. This one should be close to the front in the short field. I do like that. Did it prove that she can run at a mile, and then improved plenty in her second career start relative to her debut? Well, the last race out was the first race after a layoff. So I'm looking for another good effort, improved effort in round 2 off the bench tomorrow or Friday, if you're watching it on Friday. And then Mediate, it is the logical one next up in that race. As you mentioned, Thomas, the only bad race that it had in 9 was the one of 2 times it got a soft going. The other races, it's been on a good surface. It either finished first or second, and most of those seconds were close. But what concerned me a little bit was both of those seconds were the 2 most recent, but it was against the Tahira. So, I don't know if that's a plus and negative or what is it, but could be a loss of confidence. I think that you got to look for something else to come in second if you're going to try to get a nice exacta. So that's what I went with, Sound of Heaven. And see if the predictor agrees with me that you got to go somewhere else, or you got to go with Mediate in the 2 spot. Boom. So, well, it says forget the Tahira altogether. Just go with Mediate and forget about the rest of the race. That's a blowout, according to that. Like you mentioned, 2 furlongs. This is 2 furlongs for the predictor.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's definitely a good race. There's some, it would not be a shock to see one of these long shots hit them, because it is going to be. I don't think the front, the front runners are going to be anywhere. If they are there at the end, it's going to be because they got a really slow pace.
And sometimes you can get away with that in the short field.
Yeah.
You think you're more likely to get with it?
It becomes more of a jockey's race. You know, how smart are you? And you know what you have under you.
In the fifth race, let's see how smart Tom and I are. They're going to go a mile. There you go. There's the designation. It is the straight variety, not the dyslexic L. So they'll just rip across the track. Again, the ones that are across the screen usually do better if they're on the speedy side. The ones that are closer to you on the screen looks to me like they draft and they come flying up at the end like a race at Daytona with the Daytona 500 for NASCAR. And so far, it seems to me, though, being on that far side is the place to be. Who do you think is going to have the race to be here?
And according to the going stick, that's the firmer side of the course.
Mm-hmm.
It's been interesting. With that, I'm going to take number 24.
Oh, it's a big race here. Let's see, number
Sparks
24.
Fly.
And they should for this one.
Draw 10. One of the last 4 races. And they were at lower levels. They've been soft and heavy going, so had to work. Last 2 races won by 5.5 lengths and 6 lengths. Well, that's not bad. But what's interesting is the horse ran 5 races on the all-weather. Best finish was 3rd. They put it on the turf, and it's a different horse. And you know, I'm gonna have some questions of the good to firm, and the class rise, of course. But at 25-1 plus, keep going up. An undefeated horse on the turf.
Sparks will be flying into your bankroll.
I mean, that's something. I mean, we caught that in the Dubai, in the big race there. A horse had only lost once on the dirt. His turf record sucked. And they got paid nicely. Laura Pearson has the ride, and she gets a 3-pound allowance, which is you get a little weight off, doesn't hurt any.
Nope.
Number 2, Jackie O is going to be my next choice. Has draw 28. Her maiden at Naz it was a mile and won it by half a length. Then they got crazy with her, and they ran her in a listed race. She did okay. She got a 2nd. They ran her at the Kerr and the Guineas, and it was too much for her. You know, the thing with her is that, you know, it just as she dropped to the right level to win. And Moore and O'Brien generally know what they're doing. And Ryan Moore has been winning some races at Royal Ascot Meet. And you got to think, maybe they placed this horse correctly and it'll get a win.
They got some magic going. He's going to get himself a nice new sports car when this is over for sure.
If he doesn't, I'd be very surprised. Number 26, Mark Man Queen is going to be my final choice with draw 23. Has 3 races. It was 2 wins and a 2nd. And they are at this distance, but it's only been on the all-weather. But you go and look at those odds, and you're going, okay, somebody likes this horse. You know, she's not winning by big margins, but she's not really losing either. I mean, that's pretty okay. And the other thing is her breeding says turf. Kind of screams turf. This is Gosden. And does he have the place correctly? Maybe. And Holly Doyle gets the mount.
I'm going to start with Jackie O. This kind of goes back to the last race a little bit. Jackie O did finish last time. I think it was 5th, beaten by 4 lengths. So not embarrassed versus Taiha, who is the 3-5 favorite in the prior race, the Coronation Stakes. I think this is a big enough drop, unquestionably, for that horse to make up that ground. I'm going to go with the 22 horse in here. Again, 2s are wild for me tomorrow. So I hope tomorrow is the day where 2s just go across the board, because you got 22 at 22-1. I didn't even realize that. So 22s are wild tomorrow, Thomas. Eximus, 3 over 4 races were solid. 1 second career start after a solid effort in the debut. First up last time, got a solid effort. Looking for that pattern of improvement to repeat tomorrow. 26. So 400 horses in this race, and somehow you and I agree on 2 of them. Marksman's Queen. And this is my next pick. You know, you mentioned that it's just 3/4 of a length from being undefeated in its 3 races on the all-weather track. All-weather does translate, but as you mentioned, the turf breeding is there. So there's no question if the horse can take to the turf, the 16-1 might look like a steal. And then finally, the next one, I don't think I even need to give any reason for this race. His name is Rich, or her name is Rich. And I would look dumb as hell if I didn't take her and she won, because the last time a horse named Rich ran and I didn't take it was Rich Strike, and it went off at 80-1. And I always usually make an effort to make to play horses with my name. And the one time I didn't, I look stupid.
You were a Rich Unstrike.
So I want to make sure I don't look stupid again. The predictor will probably make me look pretty stupid right now.
Make us all look stupid.
Yes. Well, unless, of course, neither one of us picked unless. Is there any name in there that we picked?
No, I don't think so.
I don't see one. It must be they don't have data for it. So to hell with the predictor. What does it know? I mean, maybe it should handicap by name and pick horses named Rich like I did. No. 2 races to go, Thomas. And for the second to last day at the Royal Ascot. We'll close it out again tomorrow night, like we've done, 5 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Eastern for the Saturday card. Friday nights, lights, and Saturday afternoon racing. The Ascot King Edward, the 7th stakes, is going to be 1.5 miles. Well, we talked about that before. They'll start here, almost make one full turn around the triangle. Thomas let me put that on the screen there again. They're going to start here, make their way around the triangle. When they're done making their way around the triangle, Tom, who's going to be the champion for King Edward the 7th?
And number 2, Arrest, draw 1. He really looked good in the Epsom Derby until the third furlong, and then he went backwards. Well, they found out what the problem was. He lost a shoe in that race.
It's uncomfortable. He got a flat tire.
Yeah, he blew a tire. And, because before that, I mean, he had 3 wins and 2 placings, and he was never out of the money. And, well, barring anything weird happening, I think much better results this race. And you got the Frankie factor, so that'll bring down the odds. Number 5, King of Steel, with draw 6 is going to be my next choice. A very lightly raised horse. It only won a maiden when it went into the Epsom Derby, and it ran a really dull race in a Group 1 at Doncaster in October. So what do you do with it? Well, they decided to throw it with the big boys with no races, and went off at ridiculous odds of 66-1, and ran second to Auguste Rodin in the Derby. That's not bad. Trainer knew what he was doing. But yet, I always say with that, let's make sure it's not a fluke and see if we can do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But I am going to put him in, and you're not going to get 66-1.
No, you're going to get 11-10.
Yeah. Finally, I'm going to take number 4, Continuous, as my final choice with draw 3. Ran an absolute stinker in the Prix XD Junkie at Chantilly, lost by 15 lengths, and I'm going to throw the race out. And in previous race and first start of the season, it ran a nice 3rd in a Group 2 at Doncaster. And that was on the good to firm going. He's got some nice races. Won at St. Cloud in a Group 3. So, yeah. Yeah, I think this is a second stringer, so to speak, to Auguste Rodin, who they consider their best 3-year-old right now. But you still got Moore and O'Brien, and they win a few races. So I'm going to take them.
They have indeed. I'm going to take Artistic Star. I mean, can I even put my own handwriting in down there? And it's typed. Anyway, Artistic Star. If you read the comments last time out, it said that the horse was amped up, sweating, and that was out of character for that horse. So maybe a little bit hyped up, coming back for its first start after a little time in the barn. Also, the comments mentioned the horse lacked room. So I think in the shorter field, not going to lack room. If it's not hyped up today, gets back to its winning ways at 11-2. King of Steel, it's going to be the morning line favorite. But in the last race, when it raced against Artistic Star, it was 66-1, whereas Artistic Star was 22-1. So clearly the bettors liked Artistic Star last time out. Let's see if indeed they were right that time. And just the horse's nerves got the better of them. And then Arrest, a 2-horse, Tom. It's another one that you like in there. I mean, it's only a 6-horse field. We had to have some overlap in all likelihood. That's another one that came off a little bit of a little bit of a rest and found itself sweating and all amped up. So maybe it'll take one less Monster Energy drink before running in this race tomorrow.
Oh, and losing a shoe didn't help.
Yeah, but prior to losing the shoe, it's just a head away from winning the previous 4 races. So I think those inside 3 horses are where the winner is going to be, or middle 3. And I'll see if the predictor has any comments, any sense left to it after getting being knocked silly the first 3 days. Well, only 2 horses are in this race, apparently. King of Steel and Arrest. That is a 4 furlong defeat for the rest of these horses in here, Thomas.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
That's about as big as an ass whooping I've ever seen on the predictor. I don't think I've seen one that big before. And the last race for Friday is Royal Ascot. Where's Royal Ascot 2 in the country at, Tom? Like what part?
Near London.
Near London. All right. Well, the near London race, the last one, is the Palace of Holyroodhouse Stakes. I've never heard of the Holyroodhouse before. Have you heard of that before? I have no idea where. If I was over there and they told me find it, I have no idea.
Yeah, my spell checker didn't like it either.
Yeah, I can imagine. You probably have to retype it 15 times. So looking at that 5 furlongs, just going to sprint down that straightaway there. One of them will be the winner, Tom. And again, another field that's just a few horses, 28. So the last time we had a pretty big field, we kind of had some agreement. I wonder what kind of agreement we're going to have this time. So kick it off.
All righty. I'm going to take number 17. Thunder Moore is my top choice. Let's draw 19. And it's only a novice winner, but then they put it up against better horses and list it in group company. So to me, this looks like a little bit of a class drop. And he's been the distance. And yeah, I mean, they've just thrown him in against better horses. This will be his first start of the season, and they're going to use an apprentice jockey. So they get a 3-pound allowance on this. I think that may help. And I'm not thrilled with the draw, but we'll see what it can do. Number 7, Danger Alert is going to be my next choice with draw 5. Won the last out at Chester, going 5 furlongs and by head, and it was at 12-1. And in that race, it had some issues. And the comment line said, because it misbehaved in the stalls, that before it could run again, they had to do a stall approval. So I guess it passed because it's in this race. It was beaten badly in a race at Kempton. That was all weather, of course. Then it went on with all weather. It's up and down type of horse, but it's got 6 starts to break its maiden. It ran second 4 times, but it's getting money. And then 5, really the best seems to be at 5 furlongs. It's got 4 starts, 2 wins, and a placing. So if it's going to do anything, I think this is a nice spot for it. And finally, I'm going to take number 23, Remarkable Force, which has drawn 18. First start of the season was at Redcar, and it ran I consider a useful 4th watching the race. It could have been better, but yeah, you got to start someplace, right?
Yeah, I would tell.
And it won its first 2 starts of its career. Then they got really crazy, and they put it at Royal Ascot in a Group 2, and it did absolutely nothing. They tried listed company at Ayr, and it ran 3rd. Not bad. That's okay. It's got some average efforts, and it's got some better efforts. And I think this is a nice place to place it for its second start of this season. So let's see what it can do.
Well, let's see what I can do with number 13 as my top pick. Gerbat. I don't know what that means, but the odds are coming down a little bit, and actually got a tip, Gerbat. Last race, the horse got off to a crappy start, finished second, almost got there in time. but usually the horse is near the front. So I like to see that versatility, that the horse gets a little bit of adversity. It's not going to give up. If it gets back, if it gets lead and headed, it might be another one of those Charles B type winners in here. Number 22 is next up on my list of horses that you might want to consider. The Big Board. Big Board on the turf, 7 races, has 6 times in the money, 2, 3, and 1 across the Win Place show. Likely improves in the second up, and is another horse that's going to be towards the front. Number 24, another horse that's garnering a couple of tips from the punters overseas. Harry Brown finished 2nd and 3rd in the 4 races at the distance and the surface. So maybe a horse for the 5 furlong turf course. And then finally, we're going to zoom all the way back up here for the last pick on for Friday's races. Number 2, Wallbank. This horse raced once at Ascot last year, Thomas. It finished behind a horse that I had named the Riddler. Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah. It was a first-time starter.
So it finished 2nd behind the Riddler last year. But if you read the comments, he stumbled at the start. If not for that misstep, he might have won last year in a group stakes race over there. So this one, I may be a little overpriced at 28-1, Thomas. Hopefully it's priced right for the predictor. Harry Brown. How about the Harry Brown coming home first? Yeah, I got one and I didn't even bother. I was thinking about that Tatterstall because I've heard that name before too. There's your danger alert right in there. But outside of that, really nothing else. And if you look at the odds across this one, hell, maybe put all 6 of them together in a 50-cent trifecta. And if those 3 come in some order, you'll get your money back and then some. I think it'll be maybe a little bit like today, where the cheapest one was what, $900? You said
$920, and the top one I think was 50,000.
Wow, I wish I had that top, and that had to be the opening race, right?
No, actually, it was 2 races that had a huge thing. I'd have to look it up to give you the exact ones, but I can do that real quick here.
Well, tomorrow, again, as I said, Tom and I will be back at 5 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock for the last day to wrap up Saturday racing at Royal Ascot. It's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first 2 days much better than I did today. I'll be honest.
Oh, yeah. We wouldn't take much, would it?
No. So Christopher D'Souza, Christopher, good to see you here again. He likes the in the last, I don't know how to get the hell out of here now. I don't know how to turn this thing off, but he likes the 20 horse at 14-1. Tattersall, yeah, that's one that I was thinking about putting in my picks, but settled on the other 4 instead. I wouldn't be shocked if that one came home as the winner either.
Well, I think it's a very wide open race. I mean, and these cavalry charge type races, especially at 5 furlongs, can be a little dizzying.
28 horses, everybody running straight. You have no idea who's who. You're listening in, and then I don't know about you, but it takes like 30 minutes for them to post the payouts on here. So I'm just like, why does it take so? A lot of the technology they have, like pre-race, is definitely better, right? With to the penny, to the exactas, trifectas. But when the race is over, it's like they're back when racing started over there.
Well, and keep in mind we're in that whirlpool too, so they probably a lot of things they have to do based on where the money's coming from all over the place.
They have to make sure it clears.
I don't know.
So the money coming in from some
right out of my account.
Yes, but I mean the money that people are betting. Some of those nefarious countries that have less than stellar reputations. Maybe some of the guys over there, if you know what I mean, are putting in some bets that may or may not. The money may or may not clear. Well, how you doing? No, how you doing? In any case, Thomas, hopefully tomorrow we'll be doing good, and then we'll be back tomorrow in a joyous mood as we try to tackle Saturday. We'll be off. I'm going to go to a handicapping contest on Saturday, hopefully at Hawthorne at the Mount Prospect.
Royal Ascot on today.
No, not today. I would have been bumming. So we won't be doing anything.
It's slightly different than Hawthorne.
A little bit. I won't be betting Hawthorne though. I'm going to bet that you can bet like 10 different tracks. And,
you can do whatever. Okay.
Yeah, and whatever. There's no fee to get in. You just come in with $500. You don't have to bet the whole $500. If you come in, you lose 100, and you think that's it, you can go home, take your money back out. But if you win, you get to keep the money and you get to go to Las Vegas. That's the goal for Saturday. I just missed a little bit earlier in this year because, like an idiot, I singled Rattle and Roll on our show, and then didn't play Rattle and Roll, and I played the 20 port instead. Of course, Rattle and Roll won easily, and had I taken Rattle and Roll, I would already qualified out of 3,000 people. So
Well,
pick the closer. All right, Christopher, you know what? I'll pick the closer I'm going to pick the speed horse and the closer in your honor with the highest C zone and see if I can come home with that. That would be a hell of a way to get there. Then I can wear a C zone t-shirt when I get out to Las Vegas.
Well, Led Zeppelin's okay too.
Yeah. Robert Plant's actually, if you're living where we live, out in Alpine Valley on the 24th, if you want to head up that way, you can see Robert Plant. He's playing, Thomas.
But it's past his bedtime, though, when he's playing.
And probably past his voice time from some of the recent stuff that I've heard. All right, that wraps it up for this fourth day of the Royal Ascot. Certainly enjoy your company, Thomas, and we're grateful for the folks who do come and watch. I'll put the times for each race down in the description in a little bit. I'm going to go grab something to eat for the first time since 8 o'clock this morning. Till we get together again tomorrow.
It's not my fault.
That's not yours. I don't, no. If till we get together again tomorrow, we certainly hope that you do have God's favor.
One day left.
One day left. And in that one day, we hope you get God's grace. And on Friday, all of your Royal Ascot picks end up in
the Royal Winner Circle.
The Royal, you said it's not called Winner Circle, like the Royal Square.
Royal Enclosure.
We hope they end up in the Royal Enclosure. Thanks again and have a fantastic Thursday night. We'll see you tomorrow on Friday.